This morning, I wrote to you about the way in which I feel we need to think about the current circumstances and the challenges that COVID 19, this terrible pandemic that has seized so much of the globe in its grip, in order to be able to cope. It's to see this epidemic against the backdrop of prior challenges that our parents and grandparents and great grandparents in every generation have had to face some kind of challenge that at its moment seemed almost insurmountable. And yet we persevered, and yet we found a way to cope. Journey with me to the town of Posen in 1831. A rabbi named Rabbi Akiva Eger, the great Gadol. His Perush appears on every page practically of Shas, in the Gilyon HaShas. He wrote a separate set of Sfarim, known as the Chidushei Rabbi Akiva Eger. These are novellae. In the novellae that he wrote on Masachet Nedarim and Daf Lamed Tet, there's a letter that Rabbi Akiva Eger wrote from Posen, Germany, part of the Prussian Empire, to a colleague named Rabbi Eliyahu from the town of Plesen. And he was sending him some words of guidance about how to deal with the cholera epidemic, which to Jews was always referred to as Cholera, or to say it more precisely, as it's even written in this letter, Cholera, the evil sickness. And so I have this letter here, a copy of it. I presented it on Shabbos morning, but for those who were not able to come to shul, I want to share with you some of the ideas that are herein. First of all, it describes hygienic guidance, and it talks about the various notions of hygiene that they had in those days, not all that different from today, to the cleanliness, etc., and about getting fresh air and the like. It also talks about the shul, and it mentions that the magistrate has set a limit of 15 people in the shul at any given time, and there's a police officer stationed outside, and they have to take turns rotating to make sure there aren't too many people in the shul at any given time. Granted, our circumstance now is different, but we have to listen to what the governmental authorities tell us in terms of their guidance to leading infectious disease doctors, to epidemiologists, to people who are involved in the world of public health. And I believe that we made the right decision at the right time based on the best guidance that we could get, both on the medical side, and also I want to commend Rabbi Yonah Rees, the Av Beit in the Chicago Rabbinical Council, who's been helping to guide us as rabbis in the Chicago Rabbinical Council from the start. He continues to do so even at this hour, of course. Among the things that Rabbi Akiva Eger mentions is he cautions, in addition to the hygienic strictures that they need to put in place. By the by, Rabbi Akiva Eger received a commendation from the King of Prussia, Frederick William III, thanking him for the good guidance that he gave to many communities suffering from and stricken by the cholera epidemic. It's interesting. But in the midst of this, he writes, counsel on the spiritual side. Shelo lid'og ulaharchik kol minei atzvut. Not to be worried and to push away all types of sadness or despondency or depression. I can't imagine what they were going through in a world where they had no advance warning that anything was going to hit them. They could take no precautions, could certainly not stay in touch if they were quarantined in any way, shape, or form, and did not really have any awareness of public health to the extent that we have today. And something else, something pretty practical that I want to suggest, as I suggested on Shabbos morning, and now that that moment has come, that our shul has now shifted from being united in place to being united in time. Of course, we're still united as a community living in the same neighborhood, but you get the gist. We're not getting together in shul inside Or Torah right now. But our Torah is within our hearts. And I want to please suggest that moving forward, since the last parsha that we read was Parshat Ki Tisa, that it is, I think, no small coincidence that in the Siddur, the Art Scroll Siddur, you can find it on page 30 and on page 34 respectively, you have two sections in the Siddur from Parshat Ki Tisa. They're each pretty short. They're just a few psukim long. The one is about the laver, the kiyor. That will remind us every day when we daven how important it is to engage in Netilat Yadayim, not only for the sake of removing Tuma from the spiritual side, but also, as the Chachamim describe it, Netilat Yadayim is also on a certain level for nikiyut, for cleanliness. And we need to be more makpid about that now. And that is a halachic stricture at all times, but especially it's a directive now. And we need to take ourselves, pardon the pun, in hand. We really need to be careful about this. It's not a joke. And to use soap and to wash for 20 seconds and to find a nice nigun to sing Non-Jews like to sing happy birthday. I think Jewish people, we have enough repertoire of Jewish songs. We can find something else that we could use. I imagine someone who wants to be incredibly machmir is going to sing as they're washing their hands, Kol Nidrei, etc. Spending 20 to 30 minutes, going through it 3 times. Kidding aside, find a niggun. Find something that will remind you. That doesn't have words even. That gives you a little bit of a good feeling. If happy birthday does it for you, I'm happy for you as well. But I think we have a bit of a deeper spiritual reservoir that we can draw from here. A niggun that we can think of, that speaks to us, that sings to us. And also to put in the Parshat Ketoret. Also, the Parshat Ketoret that is right after the Parshat Tamid in the Siddur. It's going to be in the letter just underneath this video. Please look for it to see the citations. It's just 4 psukim. Also, Parshat Ki Tisa. In closing, let me say the following. There are 2 psukim after the psukim that are quoted from the Parsha, our Parsha, Ki Tisa, 2 psukim that intermingle the world of Ketoret and the world of the menorah. And I remember Mori Rabbi Rav Aaron Lichtenstein Zatzal once explained in Grus Kollel, he once visited it, I believe that's where I heard him say it, that the menorah represents illumination, clarity, knowledge, understanding. But the Ketoret represents mystery, represents that which is beyond our grasp, that which is confounding to us, and that like wisps of smoke, which it actually is, we can't get a hold on it. We can't get a grip of what is going on. Each of these, said Rav Aaron Lichtenstein Zatzal, each of these is part of our relationship with Hashem. We need to be able to integrate both what we know and also what we acknowledge we simply do not understand. Why is this happening? What is its implication? How long will it go? How will it be? This much is clear. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is running the world today no less than he was yesterday, a week ago, a year ago, a millennium ago. It's still the same from the beginning of creation until today. And let's hope and pray together. And we do need to pray. There's no question about that. That we will soon see better times. That Kadosh Baruch Hu will help us. And that hopefully we'll think a little bit about our shul when we say the Parshat Kiyor and also the Parshat Ketoret. And we'll look, I could say, with longing eyes in our mind's eye about thinking about when we'll be able to gather together again, b'simcha u'v'tuv levav, to hear the Torah read and to be able to sing songs together as a kehillah. I'm wishing everyone an Erev Tov, and I hope to be back in touch soon with some more Divrei Chizuk.